Welcome back to Beyond the Battlefield. Today's episode begins with a truth most people never say out loud. Sometimes, the strongest people you know are quietly exhausted. They are still showing up, still smiling, still solving problems, still taking care of everyone else, while internally carrying a weight nobody can fully see. And maybe that is the real battlefield of life. Not the battles outside, but the ones fought silently within. Imagine this. You are building a beautiful life, raising children, chasing dreams, planning the future. And suddenly, everything changes. The person you love, the person you imagined growing old with, becomes paralyzed. Not for a week, not for a year, for 19 years. And every single morning after that, you still have to wake up, still have to earn, still have to lead, still have to stay strong for your children. Most people would break under that pressure. But our guest today kept moving. Joining us today is Dr. Rob Yonover, a scientist, inventor, deep-sea volcanologist, survival technologist, Shark Tank entrepreneur, and a man whose innovations have helped save lives around the world. He has explored volcanoes beneath the ocean, surfed massive waves, built survival technologies connected with military rescue and SpaceX missions. But his greatest achievement was never fame. It was love. And that is why this conversation matters so deeply. Because in the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna collapses emotionally in the middle of the battlefield. He loses clarity. He loses strength. He wants to walk away. And Krishna teaches him something extraordinary. That life will not always wait for you to feel emotionally ready. Sometimes, you heal by continuing. Today's conversation is about resilience, purpose, caregiving, fear, survival, and discovering strength you never knew existed inside you. So if life feels heavy right now, if responsibility feels overwhelming, if you are silently carrying battles nobody else understands, this episode will remind you, you are stronger than you think. And even in the hardest moments of life, the battlefield within can still become a place of transformation. Let's begin.
Dr. Rob, welcome to Beyond the Battlefield. And honestly, the more I explore your journey and the less I felt like a story about invention or entrepreneurship. It is more like a story about human endurance. And when I say it is, I really mean that.
Thank you.
On this show, what we do is we often explore the ideas that the hardest battles are usually fought and usually invisible to the outside world. Whatever we are fighting, it's invisible. And in many ways, your life reflects that deeply. And that's what resonates with me, right? So people have seen you, Shark Tank, SpaceX, volcanoes, big wave surfing, many more things. But behind all of it, there was also caregiving, responsibility, uncertainty, and emotional weight which you are carrying, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So how did those two worlds coexist inside your mind? And for so many years, it's not a one incident, right? For so many years.
It was an incredible journey, and we were both fortunate. We were in love. We had beautiful little children, and then all of a sudden, she starts limping while she was training for a marathon, and it went from a limp to a cane to a walker to a wheelchair, all within a year. And then for 19 years, Cindy was paralyzed from the neck down, and the kids were 4 and 7 years old. And I think I was on overload and I was kind of on autopilot. There was no options. The option was to bail out, which was never an option for me. I was going to take care of her. I was in love with her, and I was committed to the children and the family and the business, which was another family. So I had to make money. I had to take care of her. And I think for me, it was another challenge. And I guess I like challenges. I mean, I would never have chosen this one, but it chose me. It chose us. And I wanted to not fail at that. I wanted to step up and do the best I could. And I just kind of had to segment each day into little tasks to get through the day and make sure I left a little piece for myself to get refreshed and rejuvenated to do the next day. And, 19 years later, she finally passed away, but I was it's still one of my proudest achievements. I've achieved all this other stuff in technology and science, but to have stepped up and taken care of her and become the bond we had was so incredible because she was paralyzed, yet she needed to go to the bathroom. She needed to eat. So it's almost like we bonded as bodies. We changed. I had to become her arms and legs. And for a macho guy like me to become kind of, dealing with tampons and other, all the feminine things that I really didn't think I was built for, but deep down, I just handled it. I think there was a famous quote, endure by enduring. You just get in there and, it's hard the first time, but the fourth time it's easier. You keep doing it. So we got extremely close. I mean, I don't think a couple's ever been closer because we were connected mentally, spiritually, but physically, the other thing about her paralysis from multiple sclerosis was she still had feeling. She just couldn't move. So if she had an itch on her toe at 3 in the morning, she would wake me up and I'd have to itch her toe. So, a lot of paralyzed people don't feel anything. So they don't have to worry so much about being comfortable. But for her, that was one of the added challenges, really. It was a tough journey, but it was very fulfilling.
And I would say that in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 3 and 5, Krishna talks about continuing action. Even your life become emotionally difficult.
Hmm.
And during that first 5 chapter, and we call it Karma Yoga. Karma is action, right? Why you have to act? Because the warrior has been frozen in between the battlefield. And why you have to act? I keep on giving this example, and I said that it really resonate with my understanding. If you are staying in a high-rise building and you are late for an office, right? You
Hmm.
call an elevator, but you are too late, right? So elevator is far away, and within those 30 seconds of time, you push the button 3, 4, 5 times, or maybe multiple
Right.
times, right? Now you think about a situation and a very panic. It's not a true panic. You are
Mm.
just 10, 15 minutes late for a work, but your intelligence has gone. You know that if you press once, the
Yeah.
elevator is going to come, but you are pressing is 4, 5 times, right? The elevator will come at this time. And that's what we also explore at multiple angles, that when you are emotionally down, your intelligence doesn't work. But
True.
right now, I really wanted to understand that after caregiving for nearly 2 decades, it's not a short term, right? It's
Yeah. No.
and you said it has become your way of life. So
Yes.
how did you keep functioning and creating, inventing during that period where emotionally you were have been completely exhausted?
Yes. I think I just kept segmenting. I kept splitting things up to tasks. It's what I want to do, what I need to do, and what I have to do, kind of. And I would get things I had to do. I would wake up, take care of her, take care of the kids, and then kind of just squeezing in little segments of time. I think I looked at the clock differently than most people. And I look at 24 hours in a day and I have to extract so many tasks within that 24 hours, but I valued those hours so greatly that I always protected myself and my mental health, even like your analogy of pushing the elevator. That pushing it a lot makes you feel like you're doing something. So, yes, it's not coming faster, but you think it's coming faster. So I kind of was doing that in my life in terms of I have to keep doing things to keep achieving and trying to stay ahead of all the things I have to do. And more things, it's like a waves of tasks are coming at me. You have to discern what's critical now, what I can put off. And I think selfishly, I knew one of my psychology buddies told me I have to give up self, which was true. It wasn't about me anymore. 24 hours a day, it was not about me. But what I did for 1 hour a day was go into the ocean and take a break, paddle, surf, something where I could rejuvenate myself. And that was really, really useful. And I would look forward to that. In the deepest, hardest part of it, I would say, okay, this is tough, but I'm going to get a break. I'm going to get some food. That's a nice break, a good meal, or I'm going to go in the ocean. And I also, as an inventor and scientist, I like to work on a task and then move to another and keep going and come back around. So you kind of have a new perspective. When you leave something, especially if you're stuck in it, I get stuck in something and I would leave, then I'd do all these other things and I'd come back and I'd have almost like fresh eyes to look at it again. And it's also autopilot. I mean, I was doing things and not knowing, you just kind of keep going. You don't think about a lot of things. It was like a haze for 19 years.
So when you said that I was not doing it, was getting done through me, right? And
Right,
that's what
exactly.
right and that's what I also learned, and I really really feel many times that I'll give an example that when I started this, the way I started this podcast, and I'm telling this first time on a recorded note, that it was
Uh-huh.
not at all I was thinking that I will be reaching up to a longer journey, this kind of long journey. This is one third of the book is completed, and I'm on the journey. I completed 1 year last this month,
Oh,
and
great.
I'm sure it will take another 2 years to go. And commitment, where you have a responsibility of a leadership of one third business in the country and a team to manage busy days. Even when I was talking to my wife that will I able to do that? It's a big commitment. And she also said that will you able to do that? I said that I don't know, but I want to start. And
Exactly.
I started this to support my daughter when he's studying. No one is watching TV. I thought that I'll also not watch TV, but let me read this book. And then
Right.
when you are reading, the idea keep on coming, right? So today I feel that I'm not doing that. It is happening through me. I has gone. It's all about I am someone through which the universe is pushing this energy, and it is happening through me.
Right.
So that's what I understood from you.
Yes. I think I can relate because like I said, autopilot. I didn't realize, I never really thought about what I could or couldn't do. I just did it. And there's something about a long-term project, like you're on year one of year three of the journey. It seems to me that things are much more satisfactory to you when they take a long time. Everyone wants instant gratification, but the things in life that you're so proud of take a long time. And that's why even my struggles with being a caregiver, the fact that it took 19 years makes it so much greater of a journey, of the commitment, the whole thing, versus if it was 19 days. And I meet people that go through small things, and I don't judge people, but that's their own journey. But I felt like it was such a grand project because I brought my wife through her last 19 years of life and enabled her to still be a parent to our children, raise our children and see different values and what's important about stepping up and commitment. So I think I get that, and I think I agree with you on that. How that long term feels, and the autopilot version is. People said that in the middle, people would break my trance and say, "Why don't you just leave, or why don't you put her in a home?" And I'm like, that really never occurred to me. I mean, I knew about it, but that was never an option. I was going to see this task through, and it was great that she lived that long because she made it to 55 and she was 37 when she got sick. And it was like that. And the kids got into their 20s, 26 and 23 when she passed away. So they were full blown adults and they were okay. I felt like I had completed my mission. She had lived all the life. I was with her in our bed and I woke up to hear her last few breaths. And it was kind of beautiful and relieving. She was moving on, and the chapter was done. There was no animosity between us. All the issues we had worked out, the kids, everyone was in a good place. So I think that was the reward. And the reward is still, now looking back, it's like anything you accomplished, that you put a lot of a lot of time and effort into. Like I said earlier, it's better when it takes longer. It's better when it's harder. That's the other thing. Everyone thinks
Yeah.
simpler, that if it's easy, it's better. The whole world with technology, everything is simple, immediate gratification, quick, but the good stuff takes a long time and it's hard. So that's
And when you are into this journey, right, one of the things which you did not say, but you said that it's a role which we play, right? It's
right.
not, you said that I was not there. So actually a role of caregiver, a good husband or a good family member is there, right? And that's what we live. We are actors in this movie, and we play multiple
Exactly.
roles, right? Every time. And other thing which just came into my mind, that in Bhagavad Gita, when Arjun was not ready to fight, Krishna introduced one of the deepest idea about human resilience and action. So what was happening, that Arjun was so emotional. So and emotional people want clarity first and then act. And that was
Well,
where I was asking that how you were able to manage both the world. And so he wanted a peace first. He wants the inner conflict to disappear before taking action. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna slowly teaches him that life does not always wait for emotional readiness. And that's a live example you had said, you're
it's
right.
true. It's true.
And
Like then,
then,
I mean, when it first happened, we're in shock, but then you take stock of it and you're like, this is such a long journey. You can't judge it. You don't have the clarity of what's going to happen. You just need to show up. I mean, part of it is just, I'm going to show up. Whatever the journey takes me, I'm going to be there. And that's what I think it worked for me, but it was very difficult for sure.
and it has become a way of life, right? And we
Yeah.
go through it, it's become repetitive. It's emotionally draining at itself, right? It's unpredictable. Sometimes it is exhausting. Like you said, you are taking a break in a day that was needed. Otherwise, it's exhausting, right?
Right.
And
Yes.
this thing is most of the time is invisible to the outside world.
Yes, absolutely. Even
This
even
is
things like sleep. You take so many things for granted when you don't have them or when they're deprived or stressed. The joy of a good meal after a full day of helping her, or the joy of falling asleep again after helping her at 3 in the morning and then sleeping for a couple hours till I have to help again. Everything in life seems to be sweeter when it's under duress and you have to really fight for it and earn it. And I think that it even helps me now because when any problems arise, I can always compare it to that difficult, long journey and say, I can endure anything. You just, you have to kind of break it up and say you get by one step at a time. And I think it's helped me now. Just my whole disposition is different.
so in Karma Yoga also, Krishna is not teaching you should suppress your emotions.
Right.
So in Bhagavad Gita also, you can't suppress. He's not saying you don't feel the pain. What he's saying is that do not let emotional turbulence disconnect you from the meaningful action.
Okay. That's perfect. I mean, and
Right?
we were arguing, we emoted. We had much emotion throughout the whole thing, and people couldn't understand us. One second we'd be arguing, and the next second we'd be kissing. It was such an emotional roller coaster. But like you say, you keep taking action. The emotion is just the baggage that you're going on the journey with. But you don't bottle it up. I totally agree with that. And Cindy was the first to teach me that you never keep stuff inside. And even if things were going really well, but something came up that really bothered me, I would bring it out. I want to bring it out then. I don't want to hold on to that. So that really helped me. And it still helps me. But the
And
journey is the journey. You have to go in.
you have to go through. And then one of the very small things he said, that even you are not doing anything, if you are breathing also, that's an action.
That's right. Exactly.
Right? So acting and let's say caregiving or inventing or talking to each other is action. Sitting
Yes.
idle is also action. At not a single moment was there that we were not acting.
Exactly.
There is an action everywhere. So why don't you act which can create some innovation, can help others, instead of just acting, and sitting idle is also an action.
Exactly. And it's so rewarding when you have a meaningful action. And I tell people, they're like, oh, I didn't get anything done today. I was tired and I rested. I go, but that's good. You needed to rest. Your body told you to rest. That is an important action. You have to do what you need, and your body tells you what you need subconsciously before you say, I need that. And that really, I totally agree with that.
then one of the things which I also learned, that if you start resisting something, your mind will constantly start getting into agitation. That noise will keep on amplifying if you start resisting something. And
Right.
it should not be, this should not be happening to me. I can't carry this anymore. That kind of feeling, you can, like you said, you're friends, people were saying you are a choice to have some other home and many more things, right? But when you resist that, right, then that noise constantly keep on increase. That suffering will again amplify within our mind as well. And
Right.
that's why if you act and act in a meaningful way, right? And I keep on telling nowadays, I know the metaphor keep on coming that a thief is successful, but is he meaningful?
Right.
Right?
Exactly. I
It's not
mean,
mean.
it was really rewarding. Each day that I made it through, it was
Yeah.
so rewarding because it was an amazing amount of work and tasks. But, everything was peaceful and it was the way it was supposed to be. When I got the kids to sleep, I got her to sleep, I got my work done. And it's again, like I deserved the rest I was about to get. But the sense of accomplishment was huge. And I don't think, people see it as like, oh, you're just a nurse or you're a caregiver. They don't understand how meaningful the journey is to support the life of your partner when she was diminished and couldn't do things. So without me, she would be totally in trouble. Without me doing all this, my kids would have been in trouble. The whole thing. And I can't imagine having left just to be selfish and the whole thing might have fallen apart. I can't imagine the guilt I would have felt if the kids got messed up from it or if she went downhill quickly, which all would have happened if I didn't do that. And the other thing I realized early on is I have to take care of myself, the most important. So my diet and exercise regime changed. I was always healthy, but I went to another level because I could not afford to get sick because I
Correct.
was the glue holding it all together. And even if I did get sick, I couldn't afford to stop moving forward.
Moving.
So
Right.
that was another consideration.
And when you, yeah, and when you go through this journey, you purify your mind. That's something is not visible to outside world.
Exactly.
You have done a great job, but even today also, what I do after my day job, I get into my iPad and start working on this. Whether it is editing, whether it is
Hmm.
studying, it is scripting. I use learn a lot of AI tool, many more things, right? But one thing which I have realized that it's a lot of work to do. It's not, you have to dedicate your time, you have
Right.
to take care of family, a lot of things has to do. I sometimes I work for hours, even up to midnight. But
Hmm.
next day morning, I go to gym. I don't feel tired, and that's where the inner purification happens. My body might be tired, but my mind is not tired. My
Exactly.
inner self, my soul is not tired. I really feel every time, even when I'm traveling in flight, I'll do that. Right? So that change what has happened inside. That's what is reflecting. So one more thing which is very
Sure.
fascinating about your story, and that even during that immense personal pressure, you continue inventing technology, and that is also designed to help people to survive.
Yes, it's kind of
So
crazy. The parallels are kind of crazy, but yeah,
yeah. So do you think that hardship changed the way you looked at human vulnerability and ultimately shaped the kind of problem you wanted to solve?
absolutely. I think my Sea Rescue Streamer, the one behind me, my big one, the idea came before she got sick, but executing it came during. So, and then after that, it just made sense that survival was what I'm going through. I'm surviving this illness and challenge with my family. So I should apply my mind to surviving survival situations. So I invented a pocket flotation device, a portable desalinator, inflatable rescue board. They were all for surviving. And that's what I was doing in my home life. I was just surviving. So I think the two fed off each other. And the other thing, when you're doing tasks where you're helping, you have time in your brain to brainstorm other things. So I think I kept applying some of the lessons I learned. And I also had time to go over things in my mind because a lot of the work you do in caregiving, like for instance, it took her like an hour to eat because she would chew so slowly. So it was very hard at first for me because I'm used to eating fast. But then I would just start to almost like meditate as she would eat. I would let my mind wander into other things and I would let it go to my work because it was a good time to get ready to go back to a different subject as I rotated throughout the day of my different subjects. So it is ironic that I invent survival gear and I was inventing a way to survive the illness for our family and my wife. So they are related. I think it gave me a good perspective.
Right. And then when you are into the journey of personal, I'll not say dilemma, but personal pressure, emotional journey. And at the same time, when you are talking about helping others, right? And that is what has transformed. And I always look forward.
Right.
In Bhagavad Gita, it has been explained multiple times to Arjun that you don't act. So one of the theory which goes is, in chapter 2, he's not moving. So he's been told that you act. Don't worry about the result, you act. Right? Then
Uh,
in chapter 3 said that you have to act, but for the benefit of the society, don't attach to the outcome. Right? And then in chapter 5, he has been told that you have to act for purification of your mind. And
right.
now we understand that if in chapter 2 you talk about purification of mind, someone who is not enough mature, he can't understand. But now
Right.
you had gone through that journey. I had only seen and studied, but you had lived that journey. You can understand that what purification of mind is when you keep acting.
Absolutely. I mean, it's still, people ask me, what is my greatest accomplishment? That was it. And I didn't know it when I was doing it. I knew it was hard, but the calmness when I reflect on it and the sense of accomplishment is huge because I still see my kids, my grandkids, and I'm like, all this happened because of the commitment I made to keep acting. I kept acting, not knowing. I mean, I knew the end game. We were all going to die, right? So I know what the end game is, but you just keep progressing and trying to do the right thing, and the rewards came. And I think it helped my whole perspective on life. And again, you wouldn't wish it on anyone. You wouldn't want to say, oh, you should get into a caregiving situation, especially for someone that really wasn't equipped to do it. I think I was, but I didn't know it. But luckily, my parents brought us up to be well rounded. So I could cook, clean. I could do all those things. I could be motherly to my kids. I could be fatherly. I could do all these things, but they were below the surface. And when you're forced to do them, you do them awkwardly at first, and then you get better. It's like anything you practice. That became my craft, becoming a caregiver. And I took pride in it, really. I mean, I really did. I mean, when I got the things accomplished and then I'd figure out different little tricks. I also invented little things to help her deal with it better. There was a pedaling machine, and I figured out that if I put her in a camping chair and tied her legs into this pedaling machine, it would pedal her legs all day. And we ended up doing that for 8 or 10 years. We burnt out like 20 motors, and I did the math. She circled the globe a couple times. How many times the miles she brought. But her headspace, being paralyzed, she got to see her legs moving. It prevents atrophy, and it was such a great thing. And I think that was a great sense of accomplishment. So I took a bad situation as a problem solver, and I kept taking these challenges on, and they weren't just physical; they're also emotional. Like, how do you make her feel better about her situation? And it was just a series of those challenges. And yeah, a lot of them are under autopilot, but a lot of them are also just problem solving. As a scientist, here's a problem. How do you solve it? My hypothesis is this. I will test it. If it doesn't work, I will retest it, retweak it, and keep repeating it. And that's why I wrote a book about it, Caregiver's Survival Guide, because I learned so much doing it and I wanted to share it. And like you said, the value, and so I kind of saved her life a little, and my invention has saved lives. And when I met a guy that thanked me for saving his life, it was the greatest feeling in the world. And even for Cindy and my family and others that saw me, I could feel the admiration and the reward of people recognizing that I stepped up and saved her life and the family's life, just like my invention saves other people's lives. And that, to me, is the highest level of reward. And I really,
And so one of the learning in Bhagavad Gita is about, you act fully without becoming trapped by immediate outcomes. Right. So
right,
immediate, like today, everyone looks for, if I do something, I should get something. And
right,
I'm doing because there is an outcome, there is a result, there is a fruit attached to this, right? While Gita, Krishna is giving a very radical learning that you don't work for outcome because you don't have a control. It's a logical, it's not philosophical, it's a logical that I don't have a control to outcome. Like you said that we know the
Right.
end game, but I don't have control when the end game is. Right?
That's right.
What is in my control is today. We always keep on saying here that Gita always talks about what is right. It not doesn't talk about what is right or wrong. It talks about that what is right now. Because
Okay.
this is only in my control. Outcome is not in my control. But when I look at your Shark Tank journey, right? For most of the people today, it doesn't define as a winning. But then your invention later reached to SpaceX, military application, and millions of people worldwide. They've saved lives of many, right? Now, when you look back, did that experience change your relationship with rejection and success?
Yeah, so that's interesting. It's funny how people look at that, and even now, I'm so proud of that moment. Even though people feel bad for me because the Sharks rejected, they didn't invest, which I couldn't believe because I thought they would want to save lives more than making money, but they don't care. They only cared about
Yeah,
money.
my
But the fact that they recognized the value of the invention, they thought that I was a good person to keep it forward was very much satisfying. And it absolutely has helped me. It's a great achievement just to get on the show and then to also have the soapbox or the way to present that to the world, my invention. It's like showing my work on the largest stage. And the fact that they recognized that and respected me was very gratifying. And just on a bare bones note, they rerun the show on it's been on over 100 times. And then it just got picked up by someone on YouTube. They put my pitch on and it got 58 million hits. So it's like I'm preaching the gospel to the world. And that Shark Tank thing, it has a life of its own. It keeps going on and on and on. And it was a great experience. It was a very difficult experience. So, it was not easy. And for months of preparation and a lot of pressure. I mean, people can imagine what kind of pressure you're under, but I also went out there alone. So, and it seems like a lot of these journeys I've taken, it's been me alone. So me against 5 of these people with all these cameras and millions of people watching, you can't let the pressure get to you. So that it was a very interesting journey, my own personal journey of dealing with pressure. So it was incredible.
So that's what I was talking, right? That in the middle of the battlefield, a skilled person got freeze, and then you said that multiple camera, millions of people are watching. 5 sharks are sitting over there, and then
Right,
you have to present. We are in the battlefield every day. At some or other way, we are into that same battlefield.
right.
Similar situation we have been, right? But we are winning through, and that's what we are trying to learn out of it.
Exactly. And it's all about experiences. I think all experiences, and a lot of people, like in terms of child rearing, you want to make the best experiences for your children. But something that I learned early on is I kind of rooted for not really bad experiences for them, but mildly bad experiences. Because for me, it wasn't until I failed a couple tests or got rejected by the Sharks or my Ph.D., my comps, they failed me the first time. Those were painful journeys, learning lessons, but they were critical because you have to learn how to deal with failure and disappointment. And even my wife that was the first thing. Up till 37, we both had this perfect life. We were both overachievers, celebrated in our fields, all this stuff, beautiful 2 little children. Then all of a sudden, boom, you're paralyzed. What a learning experience that was to deal with failure and adapt. It wasn't failure, but a modification of the perfect life. So I think that people underestimate that. And now people recognize fail, get up. Fine. It's easy to say that, but it's hard to do that. And that's where
Right.
I guess in the battlefield, you don't really want to fail poorly or it's really over.
But we exactly bring this point, what you say that overachiever and all of a sudden move to a different part of the life. Krishna or Bhagavad Gita explain in a very simple way, but very subtle and very accurate way that this is your life which is going right. When you are happy, you are here. When you are unhappy, you are here. Now, what happens is when you are happy, you stay here, you don't come back. And that's the
Right.
problem that from coming here to here is a big shift. And
Right.
that's where it says that happiness and sorrow, day and night, treat both of them as equal as part of life. And how you do that, that's a profound ancient wisdom which has been taught here. And anyone, any kind of happiness or sorrow, any kind of pain, you will able to understand that how simple it is to stay stable, still every situation.
Right.
If you are happy, don't become arrogant, don't become egoistic.
Right.
If you are sad, there is something bad happen, it will not take away your pain, but don't dwell on that.
Right.
Right?
Exactly. And
Stay
then we all have
energetic,
it.
stay motivated. Right?
Absolutely. And I see people, and I know the other thing was I didn't have any deaths in my family up until then. You know, my grandfathers on both sides had died earlier when I was a little kid than when my father was. So no one had died. And people's first experience usually is a grandparent dies or something where you have loss or failure. And I didn't have much failure in school. I did really well. So failing at anything, and I'm very, very competitive. I'm a competitive person. And it was hard for me as a little kid to lose anything. And even the way, like you just said, to me, I like to turn a loss into a win. So for my wife getting paralyzed, yes, that's a loss, but to roll with it and live with it and prosper in, beside the point that, in addition to it or in spite of our challenges, that to me is the ultimate winning, is when you can succeed while bad is going on. Like you said, happy, sad, bad, good, all that stuff is life, but to keep moving forward and just taking it as a lesson. Everything's a lesson. And we need bad lessons. We need hard lessons. And that's what's wrong with today's society, because everyone thinks it's immediate gratification and everything should feel good and we should make everything perfect for our children and the perfect for the world, but that's not how
Not
the world
possible.
is.
Not
Right.
possible. Not possible. You same thing what I was talking about. You are controlling something which is not in your control. You are trying to control outcome. It's not in
Right.
your control. Right?
Exactly.
Next 15 minutes, 5 minutes, what's going to happen? We don't know. What I
Exactly.
have is right this moment. And the way I will appear in this moment will define my destiny. So one of this learning, and it is very practical learning. Here we don't talk about destiny or someone in cloud or someone in Sherman is going to help. What we are talking about here is that my destiny is the way I respond. If I am talking to you and
Right.
if you are asking me something and the way I will respond, the next thing will come to me, right? The situation where I am and the way I'll respond will define my destiny. If I
Right.
am in an interview, if I am giving a wrong answers, I am not fit for that role, and I'll keep on blaming my destiny that I don't get a good growth, I don't get a. It's not that you are not responded well to an interviewer who will hire you, correct?
Yeah.
And the second thing which you talked about, that life is to learn, life is to learn the
Right.
lessons, right? But
Yes.
there is one more thing we talk about, that this life, human life, is even God has to experience the world. He has to come as a human life. If he has to see something, he has to help something, he has to come into us in this body. When you leave this body, you will not able to do what you have done for 90 years. I can tell you, you will
Right.
be helpless. And we take birth. And in India, we believe in reincarnation. It is there. A lot of people who have done research, why you reincarnate, why you take birth as a human life, you want to complete your desire, you want to complete your act,
Huh?
which you can't do without, when you don't have a body. You can't walk, you can't
Right.
see, you can't smell, you can't taste, right? This
Right.
five senses in the body, that's why you are here. When you leave this body, it's going to get buried. It doesn't exist, right? So,
Right.
so so I always keep on believing that in this moment, whatever best we can do, we should be doing. And that's why, your example is
Exactly. And also what you're doing in this moment is all predicated on what you did up till that moment. And that prepares you for that moment. I think that's why when they say old age, you have all this wisdom and you wish you knew this when you were young. And that's so true, because what I've been through has prepared me for every moment I have now better than anything else could have, because it's lived experience.
next thing which I wanted to talk to you is, you have surfed massive waves, dives miles beneath the ocean, explored volcanoes, worked in a survival environment. And most of the people, including myself, we spend our lives avoiding fear. Like you said, people want
Yeah.
the perfect life. They don't want to get into that. So what have those extreme environment taught you about human mind under pressure?
I think for me, very much, I'm a prepare for things and I train for things. So when I'm surfing a 20-foot face wave, I don't go out there from surfing a 1-foot wave and then all of a sudden go to 20 feet. I train and prepare and learn. A few years ago, I almost drowned because I took 20 of those waves on my head in a row. But now I incorporate 20 or 50 one breath breathing diving techniques. So I prepare for the worst case scenario. So when it comes, I'm ready and I'm calm. It's a mindset that you have to prepare and feel good. You have to have the confidence that you've done everything you can. You have all the safety knowledge, gear, and your mindset and preparation is good. And I don't know how to explain it except the afterward glow of being on an active volcano or going into a submersible or surfing big waves is such a high, a natural high of surviving it. And I don't think I take big risks, but to outside people, it looks like it. But I think that by practicing, just like anything, and preparing, you minimize the risks. But the excitement of getting into deep nature is phenomenal to me. It's everything. It's to experience things deeply in nature as a human and testing your limits, and not just your physical limits, it's your mental limits and dealing with fear. You know, I just find out that when I'm scared and nervous, usually what I'm about to do is something really great. You know, so it's
Okay.
like, why do we run from fear? Because fear is usually telling us not fear like, oh, some violence is going to occur to me. That kind of fear is bad. But fear about doing something, pushing your own limits, usually ends up good. And it's funny that usually, like in surfing, people get hurt when they're not on big waves and they're just fooling around and not paying attention. It's when you're careful and prepared, you're less likely to get hurt because you're more focused in on the moment. So it's really hard to explain, but I don't think I'm a fear junkie, but an adventure junkie. It's not like I look for it. It's just that I enjoy doing things that are deep in nature but I'm smart enough to prepare for it. I don't go into it haphazardly. I don't want to take risks that are not important, that are not critical.
But you're right. So planning is important. So
Yes,
without plan, you can't move. But planning is something just a plan. You can't decide that everything is perfect. Everything will be perfect. And
right,
you take out a car from garage every day, not
right.
with an expectation that all traffic light will be green.
That's right.
But you still take out, right? You
That's
still
right.
take out the car, right? So one of the more learning which recalls me when I heard the different stories from you that in life and in Bhagavad Gita chapter 6 it is very well explained. This chapter 6 is all about meditation, and there's the first time in the world of someone who has talked about meditation, and then there are multiple versions of meditation now there. But what it talks about is that you need to master your mind first
Yes.
before doing anything, and you have to master the mind but not by escape the as many times even in India people feel that even when I started working on this, many of my family members said that you are going to renounce the world, I guess. And so you are going to get Himalayas and because this is looks like one of a religious scripture, but it is not. It doesn't talk about any religion.
Right.
Whomsoever has gone through that, he says that it asks you to follow your own religion. It doesn't ask you to change your religion. It's only to ask you how do you live the life in
Mhm.
any extreme situation. So it talks about that you don't have to escape the life. You don't have to renounce the world. You have to act by remaining steady within the turbulences. It's not that life
Right.
will be perfect. It will be noisy. It's going to be messy. You had talked about your experience maybe 5,000 years back when this was spoken. There were different kind of battlefield going on. Today we are getting into AI era. You can't predict whether I am AI or I am a real person.
That's right.
And today, a lot of things are working on that, and we are going to get into more and more complex situation, right? But
Right.
in your experience, that how important is the presence and mental steadiness in the
Yes.
environment when you had operated?
It's everything because if your mind can create such barriers, such fear of like that you become paralyzed if your mind isn't there. And I've done certain things where, like for instance, surfing big waves. If I'm not feeling it, if I don't feel right that day, my mind isn't right to do something. I will hesitate. I listen to my body and mind telling me that. But I think it is critical. You have to go in with a free mind and relax. It is I don't really meditate, but when I think about it, I really do. Because even when I paddle the train, my one arm in front of the other, breathing, it's all Zen. It's like in nature. So I think I do meditate and I do want to calm my mind. And especially for being creative on the invention side, that's when my best ideas come to me is when I get into a state of relaxation and openness in my mind. And I think that is critical. And I think you have to learn how to deal with it. When you're a young kid, there's just so much noise in your head. To becoming an older person like me, how do you get to where you know your mind and body? And it's from repetition. It's from learning about yourself through different experiences. And I think the mind is so powerful. We still don't even use a lot of it. And I think that I enjoy exploring it. And like I said earlier, that as you get older, you really start to see the world and you see yourself. It's almost like it's like a bad trick they play on you. As you get older, you see things so clearly and then it's over. It's like,
Yeah.
it's like, why can't it be the other way? Why can't you be born seeing things clearly? But that's the journey of life. You
That's
have
a
to
journey of
learn,
life.
right?
Right.
So
So
it's fascinating.
yeah. And one of the things which we often discuss in Beyond the Battlefield is that responsibility can quietly become very heavy, especially when people depends on you emotionally, financially, physically.
Right.
So have you ever experienced the moments where the weight of carrying so much of responsibility felt almost overwhelming internally?
Absolutely. I mean, the financial stress of what we went through, I didn't even touch on that. And the fear of losing everything because of financial stress was nearly overwhelming. That was absolutely the hardest part because it's just like, where am I going to get the money to pay for this? And you look at these innocent kids, my helpless wife, because it's paralyzed, like I can't keep generating money out of nothing, especially when most of my time is dedicated to helping my children and my wife. So it's like it was very, very difficult. But again, I found that chipping away at things, breaking things up to okay, it's even like paying bills. Pay this one, I can pay that one later, make some money here, take care of someone there. If you look at the overall thing, it can be overwhelming. So you just try to focus on getting through that day, that task, that responsibility, that requirement. And I think it helped me. And one of my friends helped me in a lot because I had never been in debt in my life. And we bought a house and we got a loan. But he said to me, it's okay to be in debt, borrow money. This is a very much an emergency time for you. And he said, even borrowing against credit cards. Back in the day, 20 years ago, they had 0% interest credit cards. And there's a bit of a scam and their fees. But the bottom line was it did create some money. And that's how desperate I was at certain times because I just had to keep the machine rolling. It was not ideal, but I did things like that because you do what you have to do. You work with what you have at hand and you have to keep your mind clear. So I didn't want to get paralyzed by that negative feeling and overwhelmed by the monetary challenges. So you just want to clear things up. So you keep proceeding and you take a loan out. I mean, I refinanced my house like 4 or 5 times, which is dumb. I mean, I lost a lot of money doing that, but it didn't matter. It helped me survive. My house became the bank that enabled me to survive the 19 years. So was it a smart financial decision? No. But was it a smart social decision? Yes, because it saved me. So that was the darkest time for me because I love where I lived. I didn't want to lose my house. I didn't want to lose the structure and stability for the kids. I didn't want to disrupt it any more than it already had been. I mean, they had to grow up with a paralyzed mother, so they were already in a diminished capacity, even though ironically it helped them become better people. The kids' teachers used to tell me, I don't even know what to say to your children because they've already been through stuff that I've never been through. So again, you think these bad things are bad, but in turn, they're really good for you, for your development. It's painful and hard to endure them, but they really make you a better person.
So you talked about a smart financial or smart social decision,
Right,
right? I would say it's a smart decision. It's a decision which we have to take. It
right.
doesn't make difference to anywhere in the world till you are surviving, right? So
Exactly.
whether you have taken debt, you have taken loans, you have refinanced, you get finance from anywhere. See, if we are doing something meaningful, right? You're doing for your family, you are doing for the people, for invention also, you must have put a lot of money over there, right? So
Right.
if you are doing for a betterment, right, this all of this money is going to stay here. What is going to go with you is your memories, your
Exactly.
efforts, and your purified mind, which the decision you have taken. That's what I say, that Gita talks about what is right now,
Exactly.
right?
And that was right then, and that's right. And
Right.
then, but you're right. And now I meet people, and some of my friends are very wealthy, and I look at them, and it's still almost like a hollow existence. They may have got a good break, making a lot of money, but I feel so rich. I don't have a lot of money, but my experiences and the things I've endured and the things I've accomplished, you can't buy those things. And they're also long term. I can't just say to you, here's 19 years of caregiving experience. It's something I went through that changed me. It
it,
changed me.
it's your earning. And the last episode which I just completed for
Uh-huh.
last not the last in the series, but the last episode I completed,
Right.
there it talks about that your journey will start where you pause. Okay, so I have articulated into modern day because we have not seen the next birth, but the real insight of this is the way you had built your mind, your understanding, your memories, experiences, right? The next journey will start from there. And will the story will be same? No, the story will be different, but the
Right.
intent of the mind will be same. The whatever we have learned today, you and me are talking, I am also learning a lot of things. This learning is not going to go there. Will I be Ankur? No, I may not be Ankur, I will have a different role, but this learning will pull all of those learning back. So you
Yep.
will be placed into place, and that's what I say, that your money, your finance, your house, your everything is temporary. That is one of the initial learning comes into Gita, that you start imagine that what is temporary and what is permanent in your life.
Right.
And I was asking one of my colleague today when I was traveling, you think for 10 minutes what is temporary and what is permanent. So finally he said that only permanent is me and my family. I said that you still think deeper. He said, oh, my son will go to university, he will not stay with them. I said, still think deeper.
Right.
Only your mind is permanent. Even your body is also not permanent. Forget about your family.
That's true. No, that's it.
Right?
That's why I feel so rich and accomplished, because I know what I've done. I know I was
Yeah.
there. I can have people judge what I've done, and they can
Yeah.
tell me that's great or that. I don't care. I was there. It happened to
Yeah.
me.
And I also told someone that someone was here, the Arjun was freeze in the battlefield. A lot of people get freeze by sending an email, right? So I asked him that, why are you not doing this? He said that if I send a mail, I'm worried that what he will think about. I said that, are you going to take a next bus to do this?
Uh-huh.
Because whatever you are bypassing something in life, you don't have a shortcut. Your mind will have to go through that hardship.
Right.
That learning has to have. And you said that a lot of your friends has they're rich, but they're hollow. They don't have that learning what you had. They
Right.
have to go through that hardship or that learning. So renouncing the world, that's what I said. Renouncing the world is not a choice. If you renounce the world, I'll tell you a story. One of the saint who decided that I'll renounce the world. Now I am, self-realized. Let me go to Himalayas. He went to Himalayas for 15 years, and he came down. That now there was some fair going on, and he came down. Now in fair, someone by mistake placed his feet on his thumb, and he got angry. Now a self-realized person who has renounced the world can't become angry. He was angry because he left the world. You have to stay here, fight the war what you are in. Then your
That's right.
ego, your anger, your desire will pop up, and then you can start overcoming that. But you don't
Yes.
have people around you. You don't have people to support, people to talk, people to help. How you will act, and how those things will go away, right?
Exactly. And you have to have the courage to go for it and try and endure it. I mean, when
Yeah.
you run away from things, they only get bigger in your mind, right?
Yeah.
You can't really run away from anything. So it's better to face them early and go through the pain of the growth and live through it, live to fight another day. I mean, I like the analogy of it being a battlefield, because it really is an internal battle in your mind, right?
So battlefield is always inside, it's not outside.
Right. No, I love
I
that.
lot of people come to me, and see, personally, I don't keep on telling that what change I had been gone through internally after this journey, learning this, talking to you is also change coming in. But a lot of people have seen that, right? So they come and see that, oh, you are a good leader. How you could manage so many different talent, different kind of people. What should I do to manage, let's say, particular age group, Gen Z kind of people, right? I said that you can't manage anyone. Don't try to help anyone. Help yourself. Because if you try to help and try to manage people, you will definitely make sure that those person will fall down because you are trying to handle him. And don't handle anyone. Handle yourself.
Exactly. And lead by example.
Lead
That's
by
kind of
example.
my biggest theme was I'm going to do this for my wife and my family, not because it feels good and it's the right thing. That's true. But I'm going to kind of lead. That's how I'm teaching other people. I'm not going to manage other people, but I'm going to show them how I deal with it as an example. Show my kids. Even my kid, one of my children said to me, why don't you just leave her in the middle of this night? I said, no, you don't leave people. You don't leave your family, especially when they're in need. That's the time you show up. That's the most important time to show up is when the going gets hard. That's when you step up. And that says everything.
Yeah, and then was you said lead by example. Now 5,000 years back, similar thing has come up. Arjun asked Krishna that you know everything. You know you are giving me all wisdom of the world. Why you are here in the battlefield driving my chariot? Right? You can relax. You are self-realized person. Now you don't need to take a rebirth as well. So
Right.
his answer, and exactly what you said, that if I stop acting, the whole people in the queue are waiting to and watching me to stop act. If as soon as I stop acting, the rest of the world will start stop acting as well. Right?
Right.
So people are following leaders, and leading by example is very important. 5,000 years back, also the same thing. What you said, that if you stop, and I can tell you, I don't know about the environment around you, but whatever you have gone through, there are many people who are watching, and they must have inspired and they must have motivated in one or other way, the way you have gone through the journey. Not only
Well,
caregiving, but also your invention and your inspiration around,
thank,
helping a lot of people, right? So
thank
it
you.
is,
Yes.
nothing goes away. Whatever we do, nothing goes away. As I said that what you and me are talking, those things are not going to get away.
Right.
So finally, one thing which I want to understand, that you had gone through everything: caregiving, invention, survival, ocean, pressure, uncertainty.
Right.
What was the battlefield of your own life ultimately taught you about being human?
I think for me as a little kid, it was always win, win. You have to win and everything goes well. It taught me mostly that the world is not perfect and I'm not perfect and it's okay not to be perfect and it's okay to fail. I mean, that was my biggest lesson is that you can fail and it's okay. You can live to fight another day. And I think that I didn't want to hear that when I was a kid. No way. I'm winning. And if I don't win, I'm going to try hard and win again. But I never took a lesson from not winning. Now I'm the person I am because of all these lessons I've learned. And I think that's really, you have to pay attention to the life you're living and how you act and also critique yourself. I look at myself and think, oh, yeah, I could have taken that better or I could have rebounded that better. I didn't have to act so poorly when I lost that battle. You really get to hold a mirror up to yourself. And that is a sobering thought because you think you're this great person, but we're all filled with flaws and they are exasperated when you're under pressure. So I've really got to look at myself and I'm proud of myself, but I'm also understanding that I have issues and problems and things that I'm not perfect. None of us are perfect. And once you can accept that, it's easy to keep moving forward.
And that's what, if a lot of listeners who have heard the previous episodes, and when you also said that I'll start reading Bhagavad Gita, it is very clearly explained that there is nothing called perfection. Every human being is unique. Everyone has their unique nature. And it is
Right.
scientifically explained that why you and me are different and why being different is good.
That's
We
right.
talk about diversity and inclusion now, but it was always talked about years back that diversity is good. it is important, right? One of my colleague who is not Indian, he came to India and he was learning about India, that how many states you have, how many languages you have. I said every state has their own language, but every 30 kilometers the accent change. So he said that why the government is not standardizing one thing, one language,
Right.
one process, and make it simplified, people become easy. I said that this country believes that being imperfect and being different is necessary. We believe that everyone has their own journey and everyone has a right to win into that journey. You
Right.
can't have one stick and everyone working on that order of that stick, right?
Right.
So imperfect, there is nothing called perfection. So nothing imperfect, nothing perfect. Whatever is there is there, and that is how we are. And that is how we have to win. If I am in India, you are in United States, I have my own journey, you have your own
Right.
journey. But how calm, how stress-free you keep your mind by
Uh-huh.
acting, by not acting, by intellectual. There are ways of living the life, and that's what Gita says, that you don't have money, you help someone. You have money, you leave that money, that you are living your ego. You don't have money, you can't physically help, become intellectual, sing, right? You become, and then even though you don't have brain, you are
Right.
not intellectual, no worries. Spirituality is
Yeah.
something which can take you there, right? So just stay with your God and you will be successful, right? But
Yes.
whenever you do with all the good intention and perfection, not perfection, all the good intention, right?
Right.
Not that's what the life is, right? And I was really inspired while going through a story, but the way you explain, it gives me a lot of motivation and confidence that whatever we have to be happy. And
Yes.
being happy is not being having a lot of wealth, a lot of money.
That's
Being
right.
happy is happy inside, right? So,
That's right. No, thank you. I appreciate that.
and thank you, Dr. Rao, for joining us on Beyond the Battlefield today. I'm really happy I wanted to discuss so many things with you, but we had already crossed time, but maybe I look more opportunity to have similar more conversations with you.
Thank you. That was my pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah. Dr. Rao.
What an extraordinary conversation. Today was not just about survival. It was about what happens to a human being when life demands everything from them. Dr. Rob Yonover reminded us that resilience is not loud. It does not always look heroic. Sometimes resilience looks like waking up again at 3 a.m, helping someone you love, paying one more bill, taking one more breath, and still choosing to continue. In a world obsessed with instant success, quick motivation, and visible achievements, today's conversation reminded us that the deepest transformations happen slowly, over years, over sacrifice, over responsibility, over love. And maybe that is why the Bhagavad Gita continues to matter so deeply. Because Krishna never promises Arjuna a life without pain. He teaches him how to remain steady within pain, how to keep acting without losing himself, how to continue even when emotionally exhausted. And Dr. Rob lived that teaching. For 19 years, he continued showing up. And somewhere in that journey, caregiving stopped being a burden and became a form of love so deep that it transformed him. Perhaps that is the real message of today's episode. That the battles we wish never happened sometimes reveal the strongest parts of who we are. So if you are carrying responsibility right now, if you are supporting someone, fighting silently, feeling emotionally tired, or trying to hold life together one day at a time, do not underestimate your strength. You may not see it yet, but every meaningful action, every moment you continue despite difficulty, is shaping you. And one day, you may look back and realize that the hardest chapter of your life also became the chapter that revealed your deepest humanity. Dr. Rob, thank you for your honesty, your courage, and for reminding us what it truly means to show up for life. And to everyone listening around the world, thank you for being part of Beyond the Battlefield. If this conversation touched your heart, share it with someone who may need strength today. Follow, subscribe, and help us continue bringing these conversations into the world. And write to us at beyondthebattlefield@outlook.in. We truly love hearing your stories and reflections. And don't forget to explore our Beyond the Battlefield GPT companion link in the description, where ancient wisdom meets modern life. Until next time, keep showing up, keep growing, and keep looking beyond the battlefield.